Hello and welcome. Brace yourself for 30 exciting challenges designed to test your skills. Not subscribed yet? Join our community today to access new quizzes every week, engaging educational content, and a fun learning experience. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest uploads. What is a submarine? A boat that flies. A vehicle that moves underwater. A spaceship. The correct answer is a vehicle that moves underwater. Here's an interesting fact. A submarine is a special watercraft that can go underwater and stay there for a long time. How does a submarine sink? By filling its ballast tanks with air. By filling its ballast tanks with water. By using a parachute. The correct answer is, by filling its ballast tanks with water. Here's an interesting fact. A submarine sinks when it fills its ballast tanks with water, making it heavier. How does a submarine float back to the surface? By using wings. By emptying water from ballast tanks. By moving very fast. The correct answer is, by emptying water from ballast tanks. Here's an interesting fact. Submarines remove water from their ballast tanks and fill them with air to float back up. What helps a submarine see above the water while staying underwater? A telescope. A periscope. A camera. The correct answer is a periscope. Here's an interesting fact. A periscope is a special tool that lets people inside a submarine see above water. What powers modern submarines? Batteries. Nuclear energy. Steam. The correct answer is nuclear energy. Here's an interesting fact. Many submarines use nuclear energy, which allows them to stay underwater for months. What do submarines use to move underwater? Wheels. Propellers. Oars. The correct answer is propellers. Here's an interesting fact. Submarines use propellers to push them through the water. What is the front part of a submarine called? Wings. Nose. Bow. The correct answer is bow. Here's an interesting fact. The front of a submarine is called the bow, just like a regular ship. How do submarines know where they are underwater? By using GPS. By using sonar. By looking at the sky. The correct answer is, by using sonar. Here's an interesting fact. Submarines use sonar, sound waves, to find objects and measure distances underwater. What is sonar used for in submarines? Finding treasure. Detecting objects underwater. Talking to fish. The correct answer is detecting objects underwater. Here's an interesting fact. Sonar helps submarines see underwater by bouncing sound waves off objects. What do submarines need to stay underwater for a long time? Food, oxygen, and power. Only water. Extra anchors. The correct answer is food, oxygen, and power. Here's an interesting fact. Submarines carry food, oxygen, and power to allow people to live underwater for weeks or months. What happens if a submarine goes too deep? It explodes. It gets crushed by water pressure. It moves faster. The correct answer is, it gets crushed by water pressure. Here's an interesting fact. The deeper a submarine goes, the more water pressure pushes on it, which can be dangerous. What is the inside of a submarine like? Very big, like a hotel. Small and compact. Filled with swimming pools. The correct answer is small and compact. Here's an interesting fact. Submarines have limited space, so everything inside is tightly packed. What is the periscope used for? Looking at the ocean floor. Looking above water. Shining light underwater. The correct answer is looking above water. Here's an interesting fact. A periscope helps the crew see what is happening on the surface while staying underwater. Why do some submarines have escape hatches? For fun. For emergencies. To let fish inside. The correct answer is for emergencies. Here's an interesting fact. Escape hatches help crew members exit the submarine in case of an emergency. What are attack submarines used for? Exploring new planets. Fighting enemies. Carrying passengers. The correct answer is fighting enemies. Here's an interesting fact. Attack submarines are used by navies for defense and combat missions. How do submarines get fresh air underwater? By making oxygen inside. By opening windows. By collecting air from fish. The correct answer is by making oxygen inside. Here's an interesting fact. Submarines use special machines to produce oxygen so the crew can breathe. What is the biggest advantage of nuclear submarines? They move faster. They don't need to refuel for years. They can fly. The correct answer is, they don't need to refuel for years. Here's an interesting fact. Nuclear submarines can stay underwater for a very long time without refueling. What happens if a submarine loses power underwater? It stays underwater forever. It can float to the surface using emergency systems. It disappears. The correct answer is, it can float to the surface using emergency systems. Here's an interesting fact: submarines have backup systems to help them surface in case of power failure. What do submarines need to explore deep in the ocean? Extra large sails, strong materials and lights, big nets. The correct answer is strong materials and lights. Here's an interesting fact: deep-sea submarines need strong materials to handle pressure and bright lights to see in the dark depths. What is the name of the deepest place a submarine has explored? The Great Barrier Reef, the Mariana Trench, Atlantis. The correct answer is the Mariana Trench. Here's an interesting fact: the Mariana Trench is the deepest part of the ocean ever explored by a submarine. What kind of people work in a submarine? Pilots and farmers, sailors and engineers, astronauts. The correct answer is sailors and engineers. Here's an interesting fact: submarine crews include trained sailors, engineers, and officers who operate and maintain the submarine. What is the main danger of submarines going too deep? They get lost. The pressure could crush them. They turn into ships. The correct answer is, the pressure could crush them. Why do submarines have thick walls? To keep the crew warm. To protect against water pressure. To store food. The correct answer is, to protect against water pressure. Here's an interesting fact: submarine walls are built strong to resist the heavy pressure of deep sea water. What do scientists use submarines for? Studying space, exploring deep sea life, racing across the ocean. The correct answer is, exploring deep sea life. Here's an interesting fact: scientists use submarines to explore underwater ecosystems and discover new marine species. Which country built the first nuclear submarine? France, United States, Japan. The correct answer is, United States. Here's an interesting fact: the US built the first nuclear submarine, USS Nautilus, in 1954. Why are submarines used in the Navy? For entertainment. For defense and secret missions. For transporting fish. The correct answer is, for defense and secret missions. Here's an interesting fact: navies use submarines to protect their countries and carry out secret operations. What are small submarines used for? Catching fish, deep sea exploration, floating on the surface. The correct answer is deep-sea exploration. Here's an interesting fact: smaller submarines are used for ocean research and exploring shipwrecks. How do submarines communicate with other ships? With cell phones. Using sonar and radio signals. By sending letters. The correct answer is using sonar and radio signals. Here's an interesting fact: submarines communicate using special underwater sonar and radio systems. What helps submarines stay hidden underwater? Bright lights. Silent running mode. Floating high up. The correct answer is silent running mode. Here's an interesting fact: submarines stay quiet to avoid detection by enemy ships and sonar systems. What makes submarines different from normal boats? They can go underwater. They have sails. They can fly. The correct answer is they can go underwater. Here's an interesting fact: unlike normal boats, submarines can dive underwater and stay there for long periods. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Stay tuned for more exciting content, and we'll catch you in the next one.